Hi, everyone. This is Calvin with rightthinking.com, and thanks for being here again with me. Today is August 21st, 2026, and I'd like to talk to you about my top 10 favorite albums that I like to listen. Whoa, wait, no, I was tricking you there. It's actually my top 20. As I started to think about this video, I easily got through 10 albums that are just like must listen tos. And so I decided for this one, I had to expand it to 20. So these are my top 20 Christian rock albums that I like to listen to. Some of them are rare and obscure. Some of them are very common. But yeah, I just like spinning them. Some have sentimental value to me for when I was a kid growing up and everything. So anyhow, but I still like playing these records on a semi-regular basis. Some lot more regularly than that. But yeah, I would like to tell you about them. So I may revisit this video and like do a yearly update of it because tastes change and people acquire music and things like that. So this list might change, and so you might see sort of a repetition of this list in the future. But anyhow, so let's just get started here. I think I just want to turn the light down a little bit. That's better. So first one is I Want to Be a Clone by Steve Taylor. So this is a EP. It's not a full LP, but yeah, this is a great album to have. Probably a very common one that a lot of people used to have. I remember we listened to it growing up in youth group, but it's sort of new wavy and music style and stuff. So I'm not really that much into new wavy, but I remember listening to this album and this artist a lot when I was young and in youth group. And so it meant a lot to me. The lyrical content on here is very good. I like how Steve is critical of things in the church that are maybe not the greatest, but yet not sort of with the attitude of abandoning everything and just giving up and moving on. He, much like Larry Norman, he likes to seek to sort of correct the church and make it better, right? So anyhow, so this is a great album. He went on and made several other albums. Of course, if you're a fan of the artist, you know that he had a couple reinventions with other bands, and then probably the one that he is most famous for that I would say most people love the most is Chagall Guevara. I do have that album, but yeah, this is my favorite Steve Taylor album. So anyhow, there's that one. So next one is more on the rare side. So this is Zenith Sour Apple. So this is an Australian group, Australian pressing, obviously. And yeah, this is a Christian group from the early 70s from Australia. I did get this album directly from the lead singer. And yeah, he told me that back when in the day when they were playing that they were called by the press, they were called the Australian version of the Doors. I do think there's some Doors influence there for sure, but I hear a lot of Led Zeppelin too, especially on the track Wise Man. To me, that sounds like Led Zeppelin 1 or 2 right there for sure. So anyhow, yeah, so this is an original press and everything. I do have it signed on the back of the jacket by the lead singer, so I'm not going to pull it apart to show you, but yeah, it's a great album to have, pretty rare to get. It did have a single that was released before this that is from the album. I don't have the 45, would like to get it. If anyone has one out there, let me know. Okay, so that's that. So coming in then at number 18 is Os Pescadores, Sound of Loneliness. So this is a Christian psychedelic band from Germany. So it's kind of funny. They have a Spanish name, Os Pescadores, and the title of the album is in English, but they sing for the most part in German on here. But yeah, really good psych fuzz guitar and everything. The jacket is kind of flimsy, so that's part of the reason that I have a cardboard stiffener in between the jacket and the disc, but yeah, Oz Pescadore, Sound of Loneliness. If you don't have it, and if you're into psychedelics, this is one that you definitely should have. 17, Danny and Linda Gospel. So this is an early psychedelic one too. Original press, of course. They went on to form First Revelation, and they put out uh, an album, two albums after that. The first one has two versions of it. The only difference really is the drummer changed, and so the sound is a little bit different, but not much. And then they have a second album under the name First Revelation. But this album came before all that. This one is harder to find, and it's okay condition. I mean, the disc is totally fine. Of course, that's the main thing. But there is some edging wear here. But I'm glad to have it. It's a hard one to find, and I did get a pretty good deal on it. So there's that. Now this one is let me see. Okay, yeah, it's Renacimiento. Okay, so yeah, and it's obviously self-titled too. So this is a Mexican album, psychedelic album, and Christian, of course, too. But this is a really good one. Original press, of course. There is some good Spanish-speaking psych out there for sure, and I'm trying to get some. If anyone has that Holocausto album, let me know. And I'm missing one of the Manana Piaz one, the one with blue background and Jesus's face on it. I forget what it's called, but this one has really good fuzz guitar on it. So, and again, it's Christian Spanish language fuzz guitar, really, really good. So pick that up if you don't have it yet. So here's one that's more in the modern category. So this is the Lost Dogs. So I'm not sure if all the members of the band like to be categorized this way, but I say, because I think it helps people understand, that this is the Christian version of the Traveling Wilburys. Okay, so if you're into music, you know what the Traveling Wilburys are. So this is kind of the Christian version of it, in that they took leading figures from a lot of the leading Christian bands of the 90s and 2000s. So and they just came together and they put out a bunch of albums, not just this one, but others as well. This is their second album, and of course in the 90s everything came out on CD, but eventually through Kickstarter campaigns and whatnot, they started reissuing them. So yeah, this is their second album, Little Red Riding Hood, and it came with the extra 45 there, Good Ship Lollipop, and then a live version of it on the back. That's on the CD, by the way, that song. So they decided to bring it in as a 45, but yeah, their first one, Scenic Routes, it just recently got re-released on vinyl as well. So we're hoping they do 3 and 4, and then maybe others beyond that too. But yeah, so this has leading musicians from the 77s, Daniel Amos and other bands, and yeah, there's just such a mix. I mean, you hear Mike Rowe's blues influence with his guitar and everything, which is great, and then Terry Taylor has an immense sort of country influence on the sound of these albums. It's so eclectic up and down the musical genre scale. So if you don't have this one, try and get it. It is hard to get. If you weren't part of the original Kickstarter campaign, it's a little hard to find. Yeah. So yeah, the best thing is get an account with Kickstarter and stay on top of the new stuff that comes out, and then hopefully you're lucky over time you can find one of these as well. So okay, this next one is old, but it just came out, so I don't even have it in a plastic sleeve yet. But Steve Scott, he recorded for Larry Norman back in the day, and so he's a UK artist. This is really eclectic. Like, if you know sort of the up and down genres of Daniel Amos, like this is right up there with that kind of style, eclectic, spacey. some spoken word. Steve went on to do a lot more spoken word. Actually, he's actually a poet, so he does a lot of more spoken word poetry stuff, but releases it on CD. But these were some of his first albums. So when he's with Larry, he recorded actually two albums. For the longest time, we didn't know that there was two, or most people anyhow. We only thought there was one, but yeah, no, there's close-ups and then moving pictures as well, right? So I have obviously this. I have both albums. It comes in a gatefold, right? So anyhow, I still have it on my turntable. I'm listening to it and I'm loving it more and more that I hear it. So this one just recently finished the Kickstarter campaign, so there may be extra copies available. So you really should get this one. It's just so unique and um, yeah, it's going to be impossible to find one day. So make sure you get it. Okay, back to some common ones. So another artist that Larry Norman dealt with, and this was he was best friends with for many years. Mutually, they were best friends for many years. Randy Stonehill. They did have a falling away. I'm not going to talk about it. And then they later reconciled a lot of the past hurts from their relationship before Larry died in 2008. Randy here is still alive. And so this is probably his most famous album that a lot of people grew up with loving and singing at youth groups. I know I did and stuff. So I've had Randy sign my copy, right? So it's a great one to have. Welcome to Paradise by Randy Stonehill. He has other good ones too, but for me, this is my favorite of his. So okay, next one we'll get to the man himself. So Larry Norman, I've talked about this album in other videos before, but yeah, this is something new under the sun. I decided to pull out the Canadian pressing for this video. The only difference really is on the back of the jacket. It mentions that it was printed in Canada. The music tracks are all the same. So this is a concept album. It's also a blues rock album. And I just love sort of that blues rock and slow walking kind of sound that's laced throughout here. I Feel Like Dying reminds me of Led Zeppelin 2. I've said that already in this video once, but it really does. And yeah, and this is the album. If you pull it apart, you see sort of reflections of Bob Dylan's album, Bringing It All Back Home, stuff like that. I'm not going to pull it apart for you, but the inner sleeve and stuff, you'll see what I mean. But Bob and Larry were friends, of course. They went to the same church for a number of years. I do believe Bob is a Christian, but anyhow, back to Larry. Yeah, this is just a must-have. It's probably my favorite blues album in the world that I'm aware of. Okay, it's that good. You really should get a copy if you don't have one. So there you go. Next one. So now we're moving into sort of the hard rock sound. So this is probably unknown to some people, but the Young Brothers. But yeah, this is just a good upbeat hard rockin' album on yellow vinyl originally, the original press. Starting to be expensive, over $100 US to get this one, but it's really good. And don't let the cover deceive you. You know, you might think it looks mellow and everything, and might look that way, but it's rocking. Trust me, you drop the needle on this thing, and people are jumping and dancing, and it's really good and hard, and just a great one to have. So get the Young Brothers if you don't have one. Here's another one, same vein, hard rock and stuff, sort of a little bit of psych guitar here. Damascus Road, I Am a Light. So the song on here, Hell, is just amazing. But yeah, this one I don't hear people talk about too much, but if you're into hard rock with a little bit of a psyche kind of twist to it, some blues underlaying here, Damascus Road is a must have. Like, you gotta have it. It's so good. I just love putting this on and listening to it. So, okay, I'm still on sort of the same theme, but here we go. So this is 100% Proof, Power and the Glory. So 100% Proof is a British band that was discovered by that lead guitarist from Gravy Train. I forget his name, but if you're into music, you know who I'm talking about. You know how Gravy Train is a blues-based early psych band, fuzz guitar and stuff, and they had that one guitarist in there that became born again and just loved talking about Jesus. So that guy discovered this band in Britain somewhere and really got behind them, and they produced a uh, a 7-inch with 4 tracks on it, and it was really good, really well received. And then they put out an LP, self-titled, and then they put out this one, their second album, Power and the Glory. And this is just, again, upbeat, hard rock, fast paced, really good hard rock, verging on metal. I don't like metal too much, but this one comes close, but still stays within sort of what I like. Like, it's so good and so heavy and powerful. So this actually is a test pressing of mine. You may not know that because I know that test pressing usually come with white jackets. I used to have a regular version of this album with a normal jacket. And so when I knew I had a test pressing, I took my regular one out to a copy place in town, and I basically made a color copy of the album jacket, and I printed it out, and then I just added it in here. It's not glued to the white jacket or anything, but it is just folded over, so it sort of appears as if it's a regular jacket. But trust me, this is a test pressing, so I'm so glad to have a test pressing of this one. So you should get that one if you don't have it already. So this is an OG of the Excursions, of course. So that is an early blues-based hard rock band, fuzz guitar laden, original pressing, like I say. Okay, so the Excursions, if you like psychedelic and heavy psychedelic fuzzy kind of stuff, then this is the one to have. I found out recently that they finally reissued this album, so if you don't want to pay $300 or more for one, then you can get that reissue. But yeah, I got mine years ago. Mine's came out before the reissue was available. Mine is an original copy, but the Excursions, self-titled, Exkursion. It's spelled a little bit differently, but yeah, great album. You got to get it. Okay, so I mentioned him before, but yeah, I love Bob Dylan. Like, I load all my personal records into the Discogs app, where it goes into an Excel file, and I found out that the artist that I collect the most records of is Larry Norman first. That makes total sense. But the second one that I have the most albums of is Bob Dylan, and I really love his albums. So many of them. I've got most of the early stuff for sure until about 85 or 90. Not so much the more recent ones, but it's that sound that I like anyhow. And so this is my favorite album from Bob Dylan. I think it came out 80 or 81. Saved. It's the second of the quote unquote Christian albums. I do like Slow Train Coming, and I like Shot of Love as well, but I do like Saved a little bit better than those other two, especially the title track, Saved, with the black band in the background and everything. So yeah, and like I said earlier, I do believe Bob is a Christian. He doesn't put out whole Christian theme albums anymore like this one. I wish he did, but he doesn't. But instead, he drops Christian themes maybe in 1 or 2 songs on every album. So he sort of still keeps his perspective known on his work that he produces. So that's great. I'm glad to hear it. I would love to see him before he passes. But anyhow, Saved is a great album. I love it. So okay, next one is Sower by the All Saved Freak Band. So the All Saved Freak Band, as you may know, is also an early Christian psych band, uh, bluesy kind of gospel rock going off in the background. They put out four albums. I do have all 4 of them. I could have easily put the first one on instead of this one, My Poor Generation, because I think it's really great. The second one is Brainwashed. and that has to do, of course, with Glenn Schwartz. You might know Glenn Schwartz from a couple groups, Pacific Gas and Electric being one of them. But yeah, he eventually started playing for the All Save Freak Band because he became born again. And so my poor generation was first. And then his family got worried about him and they tried to take him to have like one of those confrontation things to unchristianize himself, and he sort of laughed it off and went back to hanging out with the Christians. But so they produced an album about it called Brainwashed. I have that one too. It's good as well. There was a reissue of it which you can get if you want, although they changed the jacket. I hate it when people do reissues and they change the artwork on the cover, but whatever. And then there was a third one, Elves and something or other, which is more mellow. I don't like it as much, but Sower is back to really their sound, and actually, frankly, out of the four, this is one is probably the hardest to find. So yeah, so this is a good one to have. I'll say Freak Band. They also played as a backing band to a lady, a folk singer, and so she plays acoustic guitar, but they play electric instruments in the background of her album. I will try to figure that out and put it in here as a typed thing so that you can reference it. So if you want to be a completist and get everything from All Saved, you would probably want to get that album. And then after they broke up, they also put out uh, or recorded an album, but nothing was ever released except for a 45 from it. I'm trying to find that 45. They renamed themselves the Magi, and the song is Children Who Are Crying Inside and the Lord's Prayer, each song on one side. So I would still like to find that 45. So if you have a copy of it and are interested in letting go of it, please message me and I'll be happy to talk to you about acquiring it. Okay, good. So this is probably my favorite Christian prog album, Jimmy Hott's Beyond the Crystal Sea. So just like that 100 proof album, this also is a test pressing. Jimmy Hott's died unfortunately a few years back, and whoever took control of his estate was selling his stuff online. And Jimmy had about 5 test pressings of this album at his home. And so when the estate was being settled, this person started to sell the test pressings. So I got a copy of it. Sound beautiful. I love test pressings. Like if I could have only test pressings and even without the artwork, I don't care. I would be happy to take them. Test pressings and then promo copies and then regular copies. That's my order of preference. But anyhow, just like I did with that album a few albums back, 100 proof, where I went to the copy store and I made so with this one I made a color copy of my old album of Jimmy Hott's, and then I just folded it over top of the white jacket here, right? So okay, and then I wrote the song tracks myself on there. That was empty logo when I got it, but I decided I wanted to know which side was side 1 and 2. But Christian prog, just amazing. Like it's the #1 Christian prog album out there to have if you don't have it yet. So okay, so now we're getting back into Christian psych. So here's Out of Darkness, 1970. This is a British band. It's a self-titled album on the Key label. Um, to me, they sound like Jimi Hendrix, mostly Jimi Hendrix. There's one song um, where they sound. I hear a little bit of influence of REM as well, and I've mentioned that to other people who've listened to the album, and not many people really agree with me. So I could be wrong, but yeah, REM meets Jimi Hendrix with the emphasis on Jimi Hendrix. But Out of Darkness, this one's hard to find now. It's like you know, uh, 400 or 500 bucks Canadian, right? So, and to get it in good condition can be tough too. So glad I have it. Out of Darkness, get it if you don't have one. Just recently got an OG of this one. Our Generation. So this is a Christian blues rock psych band out of New York, and this album has been reissued. I do have the reissue. I listened to it before acquiring this one, and I should say that this is their second album. They also have another album um, in that came before this, yellow, kind of covered in color in the background. So the name's escaping me right now, but anyhow, if you know this band, you know what I'm talking about. I like this one the best out of the two because it's the first one is more folky kind of psych. This one is more electric psych and heavy psych. There's absolutely some good heavy psych tracks on this one. So Our Generation, Power and Prayer. I am so glad that I have it. So if you can acquire one, even the reissue, then you should get it. So I think we're up to number 2 now. So you might think sacrilege. If you know me, how am I putting Larry Norman in number 2 spot? I don't know either. Maybe I should be burned at the stake, or maybe in a week I would change the order. But I love Larry. Everyone knows I love Larry. I, can talk forever about all the great things about Larry. But this is such an important album. Of course, this is the only one that the American government has recognized as having cultural significance to the American nation, and it has been stored as an archival piece because of its commentary on the American nation at that time. It was recorded in 1972. This album and the artist, but this album has inspired so many Christian artists that came after it, and songs from here have been redone by so many artists. I mean, just how many versions of "I Wish We'd All Been Ready" are there out there, right? So, anyhow, if you don't know anything about Christian rock, honestly, the first album I would say to listen to would be this one, Larry Norman, Only Visiting This Planet. So, okay. And then my number 1 pick is, if people know me, this isn't going to be shocking either, but here we go. This is Fraction Moonblood. Yes, this is an OG copy. Okay. I did get it in 2019, I think, from lead singer Jim Beach. It was his last copy. It was his personal copy that he played. I've got pictures of me with him on that day when we met and did the transaction. Um, so yeah, this is for sure a VG plus, if not near mint copy of it. Just slight little bit of foxing starting on the white background, but it's in good shape. Jim kept good shape of it and everything. So I was lucky enough to acquire it. When first started realizing how much I appreciated the sound of psychedelic music, especially heavy psychedelic music, everyone was saying you got to try out Fraction, and I had never heard of them before. Like 15 years ago, I didn't know about Fraction, and so then I did listen to them, and honestly, my jaw jaw dropped when I first dropped the needle and listened to the whole album. Um, I've been saying for a while, and others have picked up on it. I don't know if I'm the first one that started, but I said that the sound of them is if Black Sabbath and the Doors had a baby together, and that baby started singing about Jesus, that this would be what Fraction is. So yeah, it's amazing. And good thing about Fraction is it has been reissued lots. You can find copies online for anywhere from, well, if you get black vinyl, you can get them for $50 US. So that's not too expensive, right? And then there's color versions and things like that, swirl, splatter, all that stuff, right? So yeah, there's a guy that bought the rights to it for I think 20 years, a few years back. So he's been putting out lots of reissues of it. So, but yeah, this is an OG copy. Probably the most expensive Christian album out there on the open market. I'm not going to say what it would sell for, but you can look it up yourself. Like, we're not talking hundreds of dollars, we're talking thousands of dollars. Okay, good. So those are my top 20. And I do want to, I always like to do just 3 quick honorable mentions on every video. So I like listening to these ones too. maybe not as much, but they're still very good albums. So is anyone out there a fan of John Cougar Mellencamp's music? Because if you are, you should get Carson Cole, because his sound is very similar to John Cougar Mellencamp, just a Christian version of it. So he's got another album too that I'm sort of trying to find. But Carson Cole, he's a good Canadian guy from Alberta. So he's sort of got that Midwest kind of feel that Mellencamp has, right? Slight allusion towards country sounds in his rock and roll. So yeah, hey Hal, this is a good one that you should consider getting. This one is a good one. It's kind of a funny one too. Lance Appleton. The name of it, I'm actually going to pull it out because it's so long. I remember online we were joking one time in one of the Facebook groups about it's probably the Christian album that has the longest name to it. But yeah, let me read it out to you. It's I'm a one God apostolic tongue talking holy roller, born again, heaven bound believer in the liberating power of Jesus' name. That's the name of the album, right? So it's so funny that he did that, and of course there's a song in there with that exact title, of course, right? So, but yeah, no, it's a great album. It's actually a blues album. Like Lance here is he's heavy on the harp here. You can see him with the harmonica in his hands, right? So he blows the harp a lot on this album, but it's just good rock and roll in the background. He's sort of It's funny though, the lyrical content, he's sort of like almost anti-rock in some of the lyrics of his songs about the evils of rock and roll, and yet here he is playing blues rock. So it's kind of funny that way. But he's got a few albums out. I'm trying to get his second and third one as well. But so if anyone has them, let me know. But yeah, I love listening to this album. It's so great. So, and then the last one that I'll show you is so this one. This is prayers for a noonday church with Father Pat Berkeley. So, so in the 60s and 70s, when Jesus was very popular, people tried to sort of jump on that train and spit things out to capitalize on it, right? So, one unique thing that they did is there was a psych band out there called Spur, and I do have their album OG as well. But they decide to collaborate with this Catholic priest, Pat Berkeley, and they did an album together, and it's psychedelic sounds in the background while this Catholic priest is quoting scripture and sort of giving short homilies, and words of encouragement and things like that. He's got a New York accent to him, so it's kind of funny that way, but yeah, so they did that. There's a jazz album out there that's similar too, with um, a Christian leader talking and meditating or whatever in the background while they're playing jazz music. I don't have that one, but I had to get this one because this is sort of the rock version of it, and it's psychedelic rock, which is my favorite kind of rock. Okay, so there you go. You have 20 albums that I think are really cool and that I try to listen to regularly. So do you have any of those? Let me know which ones you have. And do you have any from that list that you want to get still? Let me know that as well. And finally, let me know if there's anything that I missed that you think, now that you're getting to know my style and what my tastes and interests are, what I might be into that I may not have mentioned. I might have it, but I might not know about it either. So I always welcome feedback for people to point me towards things. And if there's any of those artists that are still around and would love to have an interview with me to talk about your album, I'm happy to bring you on the show and do that as well. Remember that I have this recorded on YouTube as well. If you prefer watching on YouTube, that's fine. But would you mind just giving me a subscribe, a like, and a share? That would mean so much to me. All right. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you another time. Bye-bye.